What is up, everyone? It's your boy Razorbacks. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be previewing a non-conference matchup in the 2022 college football season between the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Arkansas Razorbacks. So an opening matchup for the Razorbacks, a really interesting one, because Cincinnati was the first group of 5 team to ever make the college football playoffs, losing to Alabama 27-6. But I think Alabama's 27-6 blowout versus Cincinnati is not enough, because they think they can beat Arkansas. Well, let's go over Cincinnati starters. Well, starters for Cincinnati, they made the playoffs last year. The college football playoffs with a good roster, but they are losing a lot from last year's team. Let's go over their schedule. They'll play, which we're reviewing. They'll play Kennesaw State after Arkansas, Miami, Ohio, Indiana. They go on the road to Tulsa, and then they come and play South Florida. They go on the road to play SMU, on the road at UCF, come back home to play Navy in East Carolina, back on the road against Temple, final game versus Tulane. So that's their schedule right there. So for the Cincinnati Bearcats, they're a good group of 5 team, but they're losing a lot. But meanwhile, for the Razorbacks, they are a team that's coming off a 9-4 season after being in the dumps 2 years ago. They are coming off a 9-4 season, including a bowl win over Penn State in the Outback Bowl, 24-10. Arkansas head coach Sam Pittman has Arkansas rolling again. Remember, 3 years ago, this team was in the dumps at 2-10 with Chad Morris, but Sam Pittman came in and took them to the wire. Sam Pittman came in and then revived this program, and for reasons Arkansas wasn't actually dead. They just needed a leader that can turn them around. That's all. Arkansas was not dead at all. They just needed a leader that could turn the program around. And that was Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman will probably go down as one of the best college football hires in the SEC. Time to preview the game. So let's preview Arkansas' schedule this year. This is their schedule. That's their 2021 schedule. But they start off with Cincinnati and South Carolina, and then they start off with an easy matchup versus Missouri State. Fun fact, former Arkansas head coach Bobby Petrino coaches Missouri State, so he's going to be coming back to Fayetteville for the first time since the Petrino accident. Here we go. Then they on the road versus Texas A&M and Arlington. We know how that. And then they can return home versus Alabama, and then go on the road versus Mississippi State. Go on the road versus BYU. Cincinnati and BYU. Wow, that's tough. That's a tough one. And then they get a bye week and go on the road versus Auburn. And then they return home versus Liberty. I mean, that is a brutal non-conference stretch. That is such a brutal non-conference stretch. Yes, Cincinnati, BYU, and Liberty. I mean, those teams were good last year. That is going to be a brutal non-conference stretch. And then LSU comes to town, Ole Miss, and then they finish off the season, as always, on the road at Missouri. So let's go over who's Arkansas losing next year. We know they already lost their star receiver Treylon Burks, they lost Treylon Burks in the NFL draft. He was a junior, but he had a breakout season. But Treylon Burks is gone. They also lose linebacker Grant Morgan too, and John Ridgeway. They also lose Grant Morgan and John Ridgeway to the NFL draft too. And they also lose Ty and Blake Kern to the NFL draft too. So they lose all those players, and then they lose their star defensive players Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché to LSU. They lose Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché to LSU. So they're losing a lot, but who's returning is KJ Jefferson at quarterback, and then running back Dominique Johnson. And also also, they're losing Traylon Smith to the Big 12, so that's a big loss there. But they're returning running backs Dominic Johnson, Rocket Sanders, and A.J. Green, so that's good. And then at the wide receiver spot, they got Trey Knox and Warren Thompson returning. Here we go. And then their transfers. And then I had some transfers like, for example, like Drew Sanders and the CB from LSU. I don't know his name. And they got quarterback Coley. I don't know what his name is, but they got a quarterback from South Florida who was originally at North Carolina. They got a quarterback from there, so they're adding some players into the roster. But so we've reviewed the schedules, we reviewed all of it. Now it is time for prediction time. So this game is not going to be an regular easy win for the Razorbacks. Cincinnati is the first ever Group of 5 team to ever make the playoffs. So before that, it's going to be a long time. So it's going to be tough for the Razorbacks. But on the other hand, Cincinnati is losing a lot from last year's team. Most of their players are probably going to the NFL draft. So yeah, they're losing a lot from last year. The Bearcats are. So here's my prediction. I think this game will be close for about like 3 quarters and earlier in the 4th quarter, but in the end, I'm going to take Arkansas 34, Cincinnati 24. So that is my prediction. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.